Okay. Next up is She Wore Paisley.
Alright, She Wore Paisley is probably the one track on the record that really has nothing to do with much as far as an autobiographical type of thing. It's probably the one fantasy-related song on the record. I remember when I heard the music for She Wore Paisley, kind of a very psychedelic type of track, really weird single note music, everything that kind of reminded me of late 60s or early 70s psychedelia, which I'm very much influenced by. I love the old Pink Floyd or Pretty Things or any of those type of bands. When I heard it, it really gave me a channel to look at that type of stuff, breaking out, old Monkees records or anything like that. I really wanted to concentrate on images, or even old Beatles stuff, or no matter what we're looking at there, something Pink Fairies, anything from that time period. And I really thought this music kind of captured that. So I went about looking for just about every cliche that I could find in those old psychedelic songs, and kind of put that all into one piece, verse after verse of just psychedelic imagery that really isn't anything new, that has just been reused and over and over again. And I really felt that almost kind of like a retro tribute to those type of songs, and I had often really wanted to. We worked with some psychedelia type stuff in an old band, House of the Forest, and it just felt kind of like home to me when I heard this piece. And the characters in it are nothing real, or they're not real people, and they just kind of names that kind of just fit the flow, and it came off to me as just a mood piece, and very just a piece of straight fiction, or a piece of interest, that
Sort of, I'm guessing also like a nod to that genre of music from back then, at the same time, if that's not off base to say, I guess.
Yeah, I wanted to see, because the music really hit home with me, just like listening just straight to the music. There was no real other feel for me other than just pure psychedelia, kind of bringing up images of mushrooms and drafts and all kinds of type of stuff like that, rainbows and just
daisy chains and
daisy
lotus
chains and lotuses and all kinds of perhaps psychedelic drug related undertones to that. A lot of
I definitely do pick up that vibe from the lyrics.
and remember too, Dan, I mean, my childhood of being in the 70s and being a very nostalgic person that I am, kind of a lot of, psychedelia back then, child's programming kind of being promoted, because it was disguised psychedelia. I remember the old H.R. Puffin stuff, or old Spider-Man cartoons, or any of that kind of thing, Bugaloos, and just kind of liberal agenda being disguised as children's programming at that time. So those images are very lucid and fresh in my mind as well, since I often think back to past times. And that coupled with my interest in psychedelic music made She Wore Paisley very easy to come up with, and it was very fast, put together very quickly.
Now, it struck me that the placement of this song in the order of the entire album, was that sort of have like a balancing factor between all the different tracks?
Yeah, harkening back to She Steals the Sun for a minute, another very psychedelic song, and I really felt that, the complement of She Steals the Sun was actually very, very kind of 60s sounding in my own mind, though it wasn't really intended that way. But when it came together with the psychedelic music on that one as well, I really felt that it was a fitting thing. So we started off with a little more upbeat She Steals the Sun, and then I kind of wanted to, we had some heavy stuff incorporated too, and then we had Greater Than Fun, which was more or less a kind of a slower, more acoustic oriented number. So anytime you're dealing with a record varied like Raw Talent, it's kind of really needs to be have a flow to it. You know, there needs to be a little bit of a roller coaster going on just to keep the listener's attention. So if we started off with some of the more heavy stuff that Omen wrote, kind of went into a faster piece, psychedelic, slowed it down after that with Greater Than Fun, and then She Wore Paisley still continuing onto the slow mode so that we could go on to the two heavier pieces at the end, which were perhaps the two last songs, the heaviest pieces to be featured on the entire disc. So really wanted those to be last, to, you know, so you have a kind of an opening that has some power to it, kind of leads you meandering through different atmospheres, and then again ends on a really kind of heavy note. That's
really strong, sort of punctuational.
Yes, it definitely. You want to have a climax, and I feel that the slower numbers in the center of it kind of are bridges to the more powerful beginning and ends.
Kind of the strong bookends of the
right,
album.
Exactly.